Hello everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel, Emma Mental Health and Wellness Practitioner. I skipped my update yesterday. It was Valentine's Day and I somehow just couldn't find a theme or a message that really felt like it was worth sharing, but that in itself says a lot. So today I'm wearing a red t-shirt, I put some red lips on, and I thought, right, let's do this. So with this whole idea of Valentine's Day and a theme of love, people can get so sidetracked into a commercial thing where you have to buy roses and chocolates and you have to receive all kinds of gestures from others to show that you are loved. And what I wanted to talk about in today's video is self-love, self-appreciation, a little bit more self-awareness. And even though it might feel really tricky and difficult for some, I think it really is worth just exploring the different layers, the different perspectives of what self-love is all about. How this fits into the realm of well-being and health is so multifaceted, and one can't actually separate self-love and gestures or symbols of self-love from your well-being journey, from your health journey, regardless of where you are at. When it comes to making food choices and lifestyle choices, the ultimate act of self-love is to really consider whether something that you choose or do or eat reflects kindness towards yourself and self-love. For example, a meal that is well considered and nourishing is an act of self-love. Making sure that you breathe properly and that you get good quality sleep and that you include some movement, whether it's walking or dancing or some weight training or whatever your choice of movement is, that reflects self-love. And I thought I will just cover a few of my main points around self-love in today's video. One of the things that I asked of one of my groups yesterday to mention was to write down 3 things that they most admire about themselves. Most of us are very focused on the external stuff, the environment around us, the people around us. And when we are asked what we admire about ourselves, what we appreciate about ourselves, it gets really hard to write those down or to even mention them. So I think this is quite a good and useful journal exercise to say, what do I admire most about myself? And to name more than one thing, to name at least 3 things. What would that look like? For example, you may say, okay, so what can I consider? For example, you can say, what I admire most about myself is my courage to show up for myself every day, my courage to show up despite sometimes very tricky or difficult or chaotic external circumstances. Showing up means I'm just putting myself out there even when there's turbulence all around me. What I admire most about myself is my ability to remain kind to others even when I'm having a crappy day. So now we're starting to actually remind ourselves and this interior, this enemy of aspects that I might have forgotten, things that I might have neglected, things that I don't remind myself of. And very much this vibrational, or this frequency of self-love, self-appreciation, including something that represents something gentle, would go a long way in reminding your body when it's trying to repair, when it's trying to heal, when it's really struggling sometimes to get on top of life in general. And also what I know and what I often remind my clients about is that we can be such experts in the chaos. We can be experts in the disaster scenarios that we think about. We can be such experts in the self-criticism. We are so good at reminding ourselves where we fall short. And this would be a really good exercise to say, let me just turn that around. Let me just change the lens through which I actually look at myself most of the time, especially if my body is needing some comfort, some soothing, some ease. And then when you've perhaps considered the things that you admire about yourself, you can maybe then write down a few points of what you appreciate about yourself. We often tell others what we appreciate about them. We can tell our children what we appreciate about them. We can tell our employees what we appreciate about them, or our family members. And this is a chance to just say, right, if I was my own best friend, the person that I've known the longest all my life, and she was sitting next to me, what would I tell her? What do I appreciate about her? And this again can be a very useful journal exercise, alongside making better food choices, alongside considering lifestyle choices like exercise, like sleeping, like hydration, like breathing. Then when it comes to self-love, it's something that many people really battle with, because there is this association, or there is this almost interpretation of self-love as something that is really arrogant, it's very egotistical, it's self-centered. But because in today's society it is very common to see men and women really lose focus of their own priorities and their own needs, their own requirements, and how that fits into their food choices, how that fits into how they're taking care of themselves. Again, maybe redefining what self-love means to you can maybe just shed some light and maybe change the perspective, and maybe become a reminder to reclaim those parts of you that you stopped loving because maybe he or she didn't lose enough weight, or maybe he or she neglected themselves in certain ways, or maybe he or she felt unappreciated or felt not loved by others. So this inward journey can become a beautiful, I would say, a pilgrimage almost back to the self, regardless of your age, regardless of where you are at, is just to go back to, what does it really feel inside when I show myself some love? And people say, what does that feel like? What does that look like? Perhaps a good place to start would be to consider whether something feels expansive, whether it makes you smile, whether it makes you feel like your heart opens. Maybe it feels like there's some ease and there's some rest, versus feeling quite constricted, feeling constrained, feeling a tension, feeling like there's a little bit of a prickliness, a little bit of muscle tension, and to see how we can ease that. And that's not going to look the same for everybody. There's also the idea of really listening in, and that's where I find practices or rituals very useful and very supportive. For example, fasting. Fasting for me gives me the opportunity to become quite still, where there's no distraction. Food can be such a distraction for us, especially when we feel bored, when we feel lonely, when we feel upset. We use it like a medicine sometimes, because we just need to ease that difficulty or that upset. So when we practice something like fasting, again, it makes us become aware of those areas in the body where we carry tension, where we hold something that maybe still feel quite hurtful and quite upsetting. And instead of criticizing that part of you, you can then become more gentle with that. You can then start to look for tools or ways in which you can find something that feels more supportive. And also, how can I love myself better? It doesn't always involve having to go for a facial or go for a massage. It doesn't have to be something you have to buy for yourself. It can just be in that moment where I'm about to eat something that is actually quite harmful to my body. I might say, what would love do? Would love actually cook a beautiful meal, a nourishing meal? Would love maybe choose to make a delicious salad? Would love perhaps, if I'm really in a hurry, make a quick smoothie with good protein and some nuts and seeds, instead of just choosing something on the run. So the theme of self-love can be a wonderful journey back to yourself. And even in those difficult parts where you're finding it really hard to even name one thing you admire or appreciate about yourself, this could be that first step that you take towards your healing journey, because it is ultimately physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Spiritual is very much that soul nourishment that is so essential for us and for our well-being. When it comes to the mental aspects, is what do I watch, what do I read, what do I listen to, what do I think about most often, and can I become aware of that and maybe find a thought to replace that. The emotional aspect is, what do I feel most often, and can I find ways perhaps to again just look for an alternative, look for something every day as an essential nutrient that will make me feel nourished and deeply supported. I appreciate you watching. Please share, please subscribe, please let me know in the comments how this resonates for you. And if you would like to explore this a little bit more, maybe in different ways. And I would really like to come back to each one of these areas to see how we can love ourselves better on this healing journey and in this sense of taking care of our well-being. It is so important. It is really a big investment we're making into ourselves. So it is very much an inward journey. So go to bed tonight with deep appreciation for your body and for a very courageous heart, and maybe for all the difficult things that you have overcome, and just give him or her some grace. Just give him or her some kindness, something that doesn't feel harsh or critical. I really hope this was helpful, and I'll be back soon.